to our seated mobility flow. And so this is something that you can do at your desk. This is something you can do while watching TV. And it's a way to move through systematically all of the joints in our body and create really controlled, articulated ranges of motion so that we are moving each joint to its fullest capacity. We tend to get stuck in certain patterns, and so this is inviting us to break that pattern. So you can do it seated in a chair. You can also adjust this to be on the ground if that feels more comfortable to you. And here we go. Okay, so we're going to go from the feet up. So wherever you are, letting your heels rest on the ground, letting the ankles be exactly where they are in a neutral position. Begin to curl the toes and then extend the toes. So curl the toes under and then flex them back. Little itty bitty movement, really focusing on the forefoot, curling and releasing. And get curious. I know my ankles sometimes really want to get involved with this. So see if you can really isolate and feel through the joints of the forefoot, of the toes, as they move through this bending and this flexion. Yeah. An extension, there it is. Taking two more here. And last one. Now taking that same movement at the ankle, pull the toes up towards you and really focus on the ankle engaging here, the front of the shin pulling the tops of your feet towards your shins, and then extend, lifting the heels off the ground, maybe the toes point all the way through. Right, so pulling the toes back and then extending through the ankle, pulling back and then extending through the ankle, really isolating in that joint, and then lifting the heels. There you go, pulling back, letting the toes be along for the ride as best you can, just like the ankle did for the toes. And extend. Taking two more sets here, and extend, and last one. Okay, so continuing with the ankle, extend the legs out in front of you, bring your feet together, and circle them around. So nice and slow. So this slow movement really allows our joints, our nervous system, to find perhaps some new pathways. We've gotten pretty stuck in our ways perhaps. Like, how else can that ankle joint move? And you're giving lots of information, working really deeply by working slowly here. And taking four more, and three, and two, and one. Reverse direction, still circling the ankles, noticing where the movement is coming from, around, nice and slow, to work deeply. Quads getting a little bit of a workout. Just keep the lower legs lifted, and around, and around. Good. Full range of motion. Get curious about any hiccups that might come up, any speed bumps perhaps. You've got four more circles, and three, and two, and one. Nice. Give them a little shimmy shake. And let's move on up to our knees. So with our knees, you have the option to keep the legs pretty low, so you can extend and bend with the leg roughly at hip level. If you want, you could also take your hands behind your hamstring, keeping those back long, and take the knee a little higher if you want. All right, wherever you are, extend the leg and then bend it in. Extend and bend. So really reaching out and then bringing the heel back towards the hamstrings, towards whatever you might be sitting on. Out and in. Out and in. Still slow and steady. Work deep in the joint. Out and in. Take 4 more and in. 3 and in. 2 and last 1. Placing that leg down, switch it over to the other side. Either again, maybe keeping it at hip level, or perhaps bringing the leg up a little higher. Might depend also on what you're sitting on. So extend the leg out and bring it in. Foot's in a neutral, along for the ride. Feel the top of the thigh, your quads extend. Feel the hamstrings pull in to allow for that flexion. Right? So our knees are a little bit more of a stable joint than our ankle, much more mobile joint. And they're really sandwiched between actually 2 mobile joints as we get to our hips in a moment. We've got 5 more here. And in, nice and slow, breathe steady. 4 and in. 3 and in. 2 and in. Last 1 and in. Nice, placing that down. I'm going to shift forward a little bit here. Depending on what you're sitting on, maybe just find a little more of a stable space versus like really sinking into it. Taking your one leg and crossing it over the other, letting the ankle really hang out freely there. Okay, take a moment here, holding on to your forefoot, going to circle that ankle around. So a little assist here, as we've already done some circles. Yeah, take 2 more in this direction, and 1. Now reverse direction, around and around. A little assist for 3 and 2 and last 1. Bring the ankle into a neutral, forefoot in a neutral. Bring your attention to your right knee and the right hip, or whatever leg you're working on, the working leg versus the stabilizing leg. And bring the knee up towards the body and then let it fall away. Bringing the knee up and then letting it fall away. Yeah? And there can be a gentle assistance from your hand as you pull in and release down. Okay? So with this, let the motion happen here from your hip, right? The knee is staying fairly neutral. The ankle is staying fairly neutral. We want to work within our own range of motion, whatever that might be. And especially when we start to get onto the other side, you might notice those ranges of motions definitely change. Every side's a little different, right? All right, 1 more. In and out. All right, now taking this leg and circling it around. Yeah, arms are helping here. Going one direction, nice and steady. The lower leg is loose. Yeah, just hanging from the knee joint. 1 more in this direction and reverse it. Again, motion is coming from your hip, up and down. Taking 3 more and 2 and last 1. All right, placing that leg down, maybe a little wiggle, a little shake, and let's do the other side. All right, bringing your opposite leg up and over. Ankle is slightly off of the thigh. Holding on to your forefoot and circle the ankle around. Getting into the joint, working slowly, which means we're working deeply into the joint. Circling for 2 and 1. Now reverse it. And so the more deeply we work in the joint, the more impactful that movement is and that work is on our nervous system, okay? It's really sending a direct signal to our brain. Take 2 more circles. And last 1, bringing your ankle, forefoot into a neutral, bringing your attention to your knee, and letting the hand be there to support as you bring it up and down. rocking around a little bit. Depending on what surface you're on, your pelvis might have some more freedom. So see if you can really bring any awareness into that joint, up and down. You've got 4 more, and down, and 3, down, 2, and last one, and down. Hands find your hamstring and circle the knee around. Nice and easy. Let the lower leg be loose. Up and down. 2 more in this direction. Up and down. Now reverse direction. Around we go. And down. And up and down. 3 more. Notice the pelvis. Mine's starting to move. 2. And last one. Nice, everyone. All right, little wiggle. Shake the legs. Now let's bring our attention up to our arms. So our legs, the joints from your toes to your ankle, knee to hip, very much related to and very similar to our fingers, our wrists, our elbow, our shoulders, okay? So with the fingertips, squeeze everything in and then extend out. Squeeze everything in and then extend out. So you're essentially making a fist. Think about curling, maybe curling around the thumb and then out. Curling in and curling out. Focusing on the movement of the fingers and out. Letting the wrist stay as neutral as possible. Really isolating here in the fingertips. Knowing that it's all connected, so some of it's going to move along as well. And out. Take 3 more here. Curl it in. Really stretch out. Curl it in. Stretch out. Last one. Curl it in and stretch out. All right. Now bringing it to the wrists. So letting the fingertips be in a neutral. Fingertips point down. Let that happen at your wrist and then flex at the wrist. So extending and then flexing. Extend and flex. Feels very familiar with what we did with our ankle. And we'll find some other similarities in the movement patterns we take here. Extend and flex. Extend and flex. You've got 4 more. And 3, 2, and last one. Bring your fingertips into a neutral, coming right out from your wrists. Thumb on your palms, curl the fingers around, and then circle your wrists. Alright, again, nice and easy. Trying to isolate in the joint as much as possible, bringing as much awareness to that. Really quality movement here. 4 more in this direction, and 3, and 2, and 1. Reverse direction. Whatever your other direction is. Nice. And I find keeping the thumb on the inside puts my wrist in a little bit more of a stretch position, so I get a bit more out of this than if I was to have my thumb on the outside. You might find it's way more comfortable or more beneficial for you to have your thumb on the outside. Feel free to adjust for you. Right. Taking 2 more. And last one. Alright, palms up now. Bring the fingertips into your shoulders, folding at the elbow, bending at the elbow, and then let's extend out. Yeah? Bringing it in and out. And in and out. And here, feeling your biceps and triceps working, right? So our elbow is a lot like our knee joint. It's a hinge joint. And we've got those opposing muscle groups, biceps and triceps up here, pulling us in and then allowing the elbow to extend with our triceps. Biceps pull in and triceps extend out. Take 3 more. and out, and 2, and out. Last one, and out. We're going to add a little baby half, fingertips rest on your shoulders. All right, coming into our shoulders next. See if you can keep your fingertips on the shoulders themselves to bring that awareness into the joint, as opposed to them creeping into the neck and bringing that awareness to our neck. Our hands, right, the skin is an incredible organ, a sensory input, and so this can help to bring our brain, focus our brain on the area that we're really tuning into here. Okay, so we're going to circle our elbows around and down. So elbow maybe touch in front, maybe knuckles touch behind. Big circles, full range of motion. And you might notice, particularly with this one, since there's so much space for shoulders to move, that perhaps it's a larger range of motion. Maybe you see that range of motion really expand as we keep going through this. And down. Nice. And notice what your spine is doing here. See if you can keep it in a really neutral position, right? So the movement's coming from the shoulders. It's not coming from rounding or arcing in the spine. All right. Let's take 3 more in this direction. Big circles. 2. And last one in this direction. And we should reverse that, all right? Down, around we go. So coming up and around and then forward, all right? Now, you might notice, since we are going a different pathway, maybe there's some new information coming in for you. And let that be a curiosity. I always find going backwards that it really changes the information that comes in, more so than when I take it forward. So be curious, judgment-free. Let sensations come and go with the breath. Hopefully you're still breathing. Haven't mentioned that in a while. Finding a steady breath. Let's take 4 more. And 3. Shoulders a lot like the hips. Nice range of motion. 2. And last one. And bringing it in. All right, arms down. Maybe a little upper body wiggle. We haven't done one of those. Maybe the lower body. Cool. All right, finally, let's take our spine, and particularly our neck. We'll start with the neck, cervical spine, and then add the rest of the spine in, going in through 3 planes of motion, all right? So starting with just the neck, all right? So with this, let the eyes go with you, okay? So start with tilting from one side and center to the other side and center, yeah? Side and center, other side and center. Let the shoulders stay in place, and up, and tilt, and up. 2 more sets, side and center, and side and center. Last set, side and up, and side and up. Now look, on one direction, center. Take it the other direction and center. Again, side and center, side and center. Again, notice the shoulders. Really isolate what's happening in your cervical spine and return to the right or whatever side you're on. And side and center. Last set. Go side and center and side and center. Nice. Now let's drop it down and up. Chin goes down and then look up. Or center, sorry. Then look up and center. Here you go again. Down and center, up and center. Again. Notice Notice what's happening in your spine. Notice what's happening in the shoulders as a symptom of what might be happening in the spine. See if you can keep the spine really long. Isolate that top portion of the spine. And center. Lengthen and center. Last one. Down and center and up and center. Nice. Now let's circle the head around. Nice and easy. Moving through all of those points we were just in. Letting the shoulders drop away from the ears, spine, thoracic and lumbar spine, so the lower portion of the spine. Then a neutral. Taking one more in this direction. And reverse it. Notice where the eyes want to fall. Just like when you're doing any other circular motion with our previous joints. Noticing if there are any hiccups along the way, any speed bumps. Taking one more circle all the way around. And then coming back to your neutral. Okay? So similar, now let's get the rest of the spine involved. If you have a chair that has arms with it, you can use that for some support as we go. You could also use the sides of your chair, cushion, whatever you've got available to you. Okay? So we'll take the spine side to side. With this, if you'd like to add an arm extension in there, you're welcome to. This will change the stretch that's happening. See if that's something that feels like a good choice for you here. And you can always explore that and then decide that you're not interested in keeping it and change your mind. Yeah? So side to side, tilting, and up, and tilt, and up. 3 more sets. You can play with your focus as well. What is it to look up versus keeping the spine neutral, or your focus neutral, cervical spine neutral, and up. 2 more sets. And up. Side. And up. Last one on either side. And up. Last one. And up. Alright, hands can rest on the knees, going through essentially a seated cat-cow. So bringing our spine into an arcing position and then into a rounding position. With the hands on the knees, you can really press the spine backwards. Alright, and then opening up and back. Opening up and back. Notice the breath. Notice the rocking on and off the sits bones, the bottom of your pelvis. Take one more. And into our neutral, last thing, twist. So again, if you have arms on your chair, you're welcome to have hands here, or maybe the arms wrap around. So twisting one direction, and then switch. And twist. And twist. Bring your focus with you. And really explore the full range of your rotation. 2 more sets here. One more on either side. back to neutral. Take a moment, scan your body. Maybe there's something that feels like it needs to be revisited. You're welcome to do that. Maybe, hopefully, you're feeling a little balanced, a little looser in the joints. All right. Thank you very much for joining, and take care of yourself.